I just would have, done the good old black hat sites that have been, pure white hat, dumped like a sack of potatoes. And, after 10 years, we basically dropped about 50%. Everything we did and all the effort and 10x the money we spent was basically for nothing.
What sneaky moves brands used to avoid paying affiliate commission?
It's easier to go from 1 to 10 million than from basically 0 to 100K. One of the bottlenecks was content production and backlinks. Even if it takes sometimes longer to launch, I like to pick a really good name. The shorter the better. I've heard cases where publishers try to suck out as much money as they can out of leaving them almost unprofitable.
How do you structure incentives to keep your team fresh?
Every person will have a little bit of equity in the company. Then you start kind of introducing the middle management. You need to really be careful about hiring managers. I would say they don't spend a lot of time picking their co-founders. And they go in without knowing the person they're starting a business with.
Breaking news.
Odys is selling 86% of their inventory to over 40,000 verified buyers, and most of it are instant sales. Are you sitting on a premium age domain? Sign up for Odys Marketplace right now and wait for your check.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Odys Podcast. Today I'm meeting my guest Nemanja Mirković, who co-founded Sleep Advisor, which is one of the biggest affiliate SEO websites. And now he's a co-founder and board member of Presswiz, which is a link building marketplace. And we're meeting at Chiang Mai SEO in Chiang Mai. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invite. I'm a big fan of Odys and a friend of Alex's, and a big fan of everything you do. So glad to be here and to discuss all about SEO and Sleep Advisor and how we did everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Nemanja, you started Sleep Advisor from an idea to like a 1 million plus monthly traffic company, and it got acquired in 2022, and you moved on to invest in like long-term businesses that benefit from SEO. Yes. It's now almost 2026. Looking back, like what would you do differently if you were to start Sleep Advisor again today in today's SEO landscape?
The landscape of SEO was quite different than it is right now. And back in 2017, when we started Sleep Advisor, my background being black hat, I started with PBNs, with one of the first PBN services.
Oh wow!
That's how I met Diggity, got invited to the first area. It wasn't even a conference, it was just a mastermind back in 2016 over here, and it was the initial 50 people who kind of founded seeded the whole idea of Chiang Mai SEO conference. And we wanted to build something and to test out how a pure white hat website would look without all the PBNs. Even though I had the resources, I could have used PBNs and ranked it much faster. We wanted to see the longevity and to turn it into a proper business long-term that's not prone to Google updates, getting smashed after 6 months or a year. And, to kind of, our model was NerdWallet. That's a public company, a massive company in the finance space. So that was kind of our ideal, our model that we kind of wanted to mimic. And that's how we went in the beginning. But what would I do differently? So knowing what I know now and seeing Google disregards and the algorithm disregards white hat websites from black hat websites pretty much makes no difference. I know sites that have been, pure white hat, no black hat whatsoever, that dumped like a sack of potatoes. And, after 10 years, people putting into that website, they lost everything.
Wow. And
even for us in 2020 or 21, you can check the Ahrefs, we basically dropped about 50%.
Wow.
And I leaned back and said, okay, so everything we did and all the effort and 10x the money we spent on everything was basically for nothing. Sure, we built an amazing thing, ranked for one of the toughest keywords out there. Best metrics is as difficult as some finance keywords. But still, it's you can still drop like any black hat website, and we witnessed to that. So, what would I do differently to circle back to your question? I just would have, done the good old black hat.
Oh, okay.
I would have. No, jokes aside, I would have started with a really strong premium aged domain and cut out the waiting period, like this Google Sandbox. You probably know what that is. We kind of wait about 8 months before we got any decent traction.
Oh, wow.
But then, there are trade-offs. You lose the ability to control the name, which was an important thing for us. You could have ranked with, sleeplodgecolorado.com, right? With good links. You could have ranked with that, but, it kind of dilutes the brand image and brand, how easy the domain is to pronounce and so on. It took about, a month for us to actually choose the domain name. But obviously you can do it at Odys. You can get a domain name, a premium domain name, and bypass some of that waiting period. And also benefit from, all the existing backlinks, of course.
And some names are taken, right?
Yeah,
so you can...
That's a whole different story.
Exactly.
Back in 2017, you could have registered something for $10. Now everything runs for, a couple thousand just to start with, on a brand new tabula rasa domain.
Yeah, exactly. Totally different landscape.
Yes.
We have quite a few affiliates watching our podcast, and Sleep Advisor is a big affiliate site. What sneaky moves brands use to avoid paying affiliate commission? Like that's a big problem for affiliates. And what would you say?
If you talk to any bigger affiliates, they will complain about this, and the major one being that brands just use a shorter cookie and let it expire and then retarget. And we kind of, it's the case, but you can point the finger at, you don't have proof. And even if you had proof, the brands that do it are so big, you really don't have the power to go and sue them for that and so on and so on. So you're kind of at their mercy.
Yeah.
As you become more, bigger, you command more traffic, you acquire more websites, you turn into a media company, that can, then you can, negotiate these terms, negotiate longer cookies, different commission structure, and so on. So there are ways to mitigate that, but it's one of the sneaky moves.
Okay. So you can't really prevent that unless you build a stronger position.
Yeah, the bigger you are, the more leverage you have to negotiate these terms.
Okay. So as an affiliate, should you send traffic directly to the advertiser site? What are like the cons and pros, and what are your options?
Yeah. So basically, we began sending traffic to Amazon, making money for them.
Oh wow!
Of course. Truth be told, it converts very well. As we all know, everybody's comfortable buying on Amazon, but the commissions are terrible. And at some point, I don't remember the exact date, it was in 2019 or maybe 20, when they slashed rates basically in half.
Oh, wow.
For some products. Matrices were cut in half. So that's where we decided basically to just move everything directly to the advertiser website. To Impact, Radius, was it, and these different affiliate tracking platforms.
Yeah.
And so you could definitely see the drop in conversion rates, but then obviously the advertiser has a bigger margin, You can negotiate different payment structure, and it's overall a healthier thing to do to establish these relationships directly, and then try to find a win-win solution for both the publisher and the advertiser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how do you turn a 10K website to like a 10 million a year website? You're a magician that's capable of doing that.
If it's 10K, you can't really buy much these days. For 10K, everything runs for much more. But, contrary to popular belief, it's easier to go from 1 to 10 million than from basically 0 to 100K. Mm-hmm. Starting from scratch is difficult. Mm-hmm. But then again, buying a 1 million website, 1 million per year website is risky. It takes a lot of money. And there are risks, obviously. The sites can drop anytime due to algorithm changes. And even though when I sold my business, I started with the idea to diversify and to buy different affiliate websites. But then again, after witnessing how easy it is for the websites to drop, even though they're, white hat, I kind of moved away from that idea. And I talked to many people who even diversified traffic away from just Google to paid ads. So they don't rely just on Google traffic. And that is probably the most sane thing to do.
Okay. And what is the most overlooked aspect of a site in terms of optimization? Yeah,
so other than the basic stuff, we all do on page, we all need, content optimization. I think the most undervalued was, for us at least, I can say right now, was CRO. And not just the design, even we tested the introduction sections, hired a copywriter to test these intro sections because, if you do heat maps, you'll realize that 80% of people drop off after the table, the comparison table, and they just care about the comparison table and to have at a glance information. And you have maybe 20% that will go in depth and read everything.
Yeah.
So that's the area where we focus the most.
Oh, okay.
And we outsourced that. We didn't want to bring that in-house because we didn't have anyone with a background of CRO. We outsourced that to Convertica. It's still in business, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. So with Sleep Advisor, you went from 0 to 12 million users in 24 months, which is crazy. How were you able to scale it so fast? Was there an inflection point that unlocked its potential, or was it constant growth?
No, definitely not constant growth. Basically, so one of the bottlenecks was content production and backlinks. And I was mostly tasked with content production. Believe it or not, I even wrote some of the most important guides, like Best Mattress, Memory Foam, these. I wrote them myself, and I spent incredible amount of time for each article, weeks, going through every single word, back then, it was right now it's not really that popular to go nitty gritty with on page.
Yeah.
Because, you have AI and all that. But back then, you could spend a lot of time on page. So, I basically did that. Rob did some backlinking and, went from, 30, 40 backlinks a month. Then we onboarded Michael, who was later the third partner. We promoted him to a partner. And so he then automated the content workflow. And he was basically the automation guy.
Yes.
And he automated the content workflow, and he automated the backlinking workflow. And basically we went from 20, 30, 40 backlinks per month to hundreds. And that was, I think, where things got interesting. That's when we started ranking for these tougher keywords.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say, TLDR of the whole thing is automation, which is now easier than ever. So there is no excuse to do things manually anymore. Yeah.
So what were the mistakes you made early on And early on, or maybe like throughout developing the site, that you could warn others who could be starting now?
Early mistakes. I would say we took way longer to launch. Maybe it was a good thing, but in hindsight, I would have launched it much faster, with less, and then work on these like little nitty-gritty optimizations. But I would have launched it sooner. But truth be told, back then I had another business, the PBN service, the affiliate website creation service. So I had these different things.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to commit fully until we started making money with SleepAdvisor, and it started becoming real. Then I basically just absorbed the whole team from my agency into SleepAdvisor, and then it flew faster. Things got much faster. So in hindsight, maybe I could have done it sooner, but then again, you don't really know what happens. The website is new; it doesn't make money at the beginning. So but I would move faster. Generally, the name of the game is you need to move fast. You need to move faster than the competitors.
That's actually a common problem. I hear people mention. They often say that in the hindsight, they would have launched much faster. But they instead, the first thing you have is that you sit and polish the product, moving from beta version to original to until it's perfect. But some people say even launch it in beta.
Yes. So I like things to be perfect, but I'm also realistic to understand that it's not possible.
Yeah.
And honestly, even right now at the FreshDrop team, we have Charles, who is super fast, like one of the fastest moving people I know in business.
Okay.
And obviously Lucia and Diana are moving super fast. And, it's what I like. I like that environment versus, we need 2 months to get, to approve this initiative, to approve this new project, to approve, and then, before you lose 6 months without even creating the feature. So it's, we all know you need to move fast, but some people need to take their time. So it's a major lesson for me.
So did you make any contrarian bets that turned out really to help scale the business, or did you stick to the basics?
So back in 2017, the basics were to create niche websites. There were not many people who promoted so-called authority website. I'm not sure if you're aware of the differences, but niche website is you focus on let's say memory foam mattresses, and you just write about memory foam mattresses. An authority website is sleep. A broader authority website would be health, like Healthline. These websites, but we want to focus just on the sleep industry, sleep niche. So instead of being we're just a mattress, we need a website. We need also the sheets and pillows and supplements, not to a big degree, but
sleeping habits.
Sleep habits, to just be the informational website about sleep. But obviously, mattress reviews were a big part of the website because that made money. So the contrarian thing back then was to build these big websites. So instead of launching for $1,000 with some content and a VA in the Philippines, you would create a proper editorial team and maybe invest 50, 60, 70K into website. We did not buy a premium domain at that point, but maybe you do right now, which is probably recommended thing to do. So maybe you invest money in that, and then back then it was quite contrarian to build these big websites.
Okay, I see. So actually, what role did domain picking play in the success of SleepAdvisor? I know it's important for you, right?
It's very important. Names are very important for me personally. Some people don't care about them.
Yeah.
I care about them a lot because, people need to say that, when you're talking about a brand, you need to say that out loud. As I mentioned, like Sleep Lodge, Colorado, it's a bit long, it's a bit, mouthful. But Sleep Advisor is, rememberable, and it took us about a month to come up with a name and to really shortlist it. And then we actually purposely did the .org. And I wrote that in the case study.
Yeah.
We on purpose did that to reflect this non-profity vibes to attract links. So that was that was the most black hat thing on the website. I know you love black hat topics, but that project was really an experiment in what you can do, attracting links naturally, and guest posts, which were considered white hat back then, which is certainly not the thing right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still, for your current project, pay such attention to domain names?
Yes, I do. And even if it takes sometimes longer to launch, I like to pick a really good name. The shorter, the better. That's rememberable, and people can remember it, pronounce it easily. Even though when I said Sleep Advisor to people, they're like, "What?" They're like, "TripAdvisor." I'm like, "Okay, not that. I wish, but yeah." They didn't understand it at first, but yeah, I think it's still memorable.
Yes. What metrics do you find to be the most valuable for creating efficiency?
So in the particular affiliate SEO websites, which is the topic of this episode, I would say the most important thing for us was the dollar per page, dollar per visitor on each page.
Oh, interesting.
So we had a breakdown of each page and how much every visitor is worth coming to that page. So knowing that, we could test social traffic, we could test paid ads, we could test these different things. Paid ads obviously did not work, because big mattress companies bid on best mattress, memory foam mattress, and all these, and the CPC was just too high for us to be profitable as affiliates. If we had our own products in house, that would be another story. But then we did not do that, and yeah.
And since you're involved in so many different businesses, I wanted to ask, what role does do relationships play?
So when we talk about relationships with merchants or advertisers, I think it's one of the most important things and overlooked things. I even went to the extent of going and flying to meet these founders, listening to their story, listening to their issues, and trying to find a way. Even we spend money improving their landing pages so they convert better, they make more money, hence we make more money. So it's really this symbiotic relationship instead of being, and trust me, I've heard cases where it's a parasitic relationship between publishers and advertisers, where publishers try to suck out as much money as they can out of leaving them almost unprofitable. And that wasn't really my intention. Long term, if you build these relationships correctly, both can benefit and grow. And as the whole industry grows, you will both grow. Yeah.
Okay. And when you start a website, your team is small.
Yes.
But then with scale, as you mentioned, to scale Sleep Advisor, for example, the team obviously grows.
Yes.
Then management and the organization can get tricky, right?
Yes.
What's your take on that? What advice would you give to people who are scaling their businesses and are running to?
Yeah, we were just discussing that last night. So, until about 15 people, because I had several teams there, 15 plus people, like some 25, 30 people. And as you cross around 15 people, we try to keep the flat structure as much as possible. So basically that means I can talk to the developer, I can talk to the designer, I can talk to the writer, and as a CEO or CEO or whatever, and get my information fast. Same, they can come to me and ask for information directly.
Yes.
As you grow, that becomes cumbersome and impossible to do because like you're bombarded from 20 people every day, you know, every hour. And then you start kind of introducing the middle management.
Yes.
And that's kind of, you know, for me personally, that's where fun stops. And, you know, then your vision as the founder dilutes. You need to really be careful about hiring managers because they need to pass your vision and your values and your principles about how to run the company to their layer, to the people they manage, basically. So yeah, that was the advice I have on that is choose those carefully.
That is very challenging.
Yes, amazingly challenging.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest steps, right?
Yes, to transition from this flat structure to the hierarchical structure is very difficult and should be done very carefully. Otherwise, you risk, being late, projects being late, not getting things done, things getting lost in communication, and people blame it. Oh, it was an error in communication. There shouldn't be an error in communication. When we communicate directly, there is no error.
Yeah.
So why is there an error if you have a person in between?
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be that.
Yeah. But it's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah. It's a classic thing.
Yeah. Burnout kills scaling dreams, and it's a very often discussed topic nowadays. How do you structure incentives to keep your team fresh?
That's a really good question. And even we as co-founders, we burned out towards the end, especially we became parents, both of us, in 2020. So me in 2019 and 2020. So the whole COVID stuff, couldn't get out of the house. So even we burned out, and that kind of led to the whole, let's just sell and, take a few years off and go from there. But we started noticing people, burning out, asking for sick leave more often. And, that can be usually these factors like, we had COVID, sure. We had maybe some sprints that were very difficult to execute, sure. But then right now, as I look back, I would have structured the incentives differently.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So basically, every person would have a little bit of equity in the company, and that would lead them to have this sense of belonging, sense of ownership, and like you're building something that you own, even it being 0.1% or 0.5%, you
even
still
a small fraction, right?
You still have this sense of ownership, and then you treat it differently. You don't treat it as just a job that you need to kind of just do my thing until 5 p.m. whatever, and clock out. Then you can start thinking about it on your off days and so on, as founders usually do.
Yes. Yeah. You become kind of like a micro-founder.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
It's vast. It's very different.
And then decision to change or leave is also much more difficult.
That starts with key positions, the key developer, key manager, and then it kind of trickles down to the best of each team, let's say, and then slowly, as you you would really be entitled to equity, like on your first day. Like here's my paper, sign it off.
Of course.
So, it's not like that.
And as a founder scaling to exit, how do you decide whether to outsource or hire in-house?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we outsourced conversion rate optimization, and that was really done well.
Oh, okay.
Because I had confidence in my friend Kurt. He did conversion rate optimization for a long time, so
nice.
There was no problem with that. On the other hand, for example, we hired a content marketing agency to do. It's basically creating content like you've heard that strategy, creating statistic posts and all this to attract backlinks naturally as you rank.
Digital PR.
Digital PR, yeah. People call it different ways, but it's essentially digital PR.
Yeah.
So we hired an agency for that. That didn't turn out well because it wasn't bad. It was just too slow for our taste. It was like, taking 4 months to get 2 posts out.
Oh, wow.
And then we moved that in-house. Basically, I took that whole initiative myself and with our best editor and manager and a few people. And we basically were doing 10 to 15 of these every month instead of 2 every 4 months, 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we sped that up very fast. So these important initiatives. So for example, if you are doing content very well and you know how to do content very well, and with AI now you can do different things.
Yeah.
You do that in-house. For example, link building, you could outsource. You could outsource it to different providers or different agencies or buy at press release, whatever.
Yeah.
Shameless plug here, but you could do that as well. I mean.
Yeah.
Building a link building team is expensive and takes a lot of people and takes a lot of knowledge.
Yes.
And to automate all that, for example, we've automated the whole process. We're going to send millions of emails every month versus when we started, it's like, my co-founder Rob doing it himself versus finding somebody who is very into automation, like Mike was. So we decided to move that in-house. We cooperated with Dusan on multiple occasions. We bought links from him when he had his agency, and that worked amazing. But we needed control over the process, and because we had Mike who can automate things.
Okay.
Yes. Otherwise, if you're doing things manually in 2025, even back then, doing things manually was not competitive. You would have burned through the money amazingly fast, and you would not get the output that the competitors are getting.
Yeah, and on-page SEO can get very boring when you scale, right? Do you have any good tips on how to optimize, like for content production and team management of content?
Yeah, so back in 2017, 18, 19, whatever, it was so different. You didn't have AI, you didn't have all these management tools. So basically we just had an Excel sheet, actually Google sheet that Michael automated completely. So we had the different flows, everybody had different access. Developers had like a development tab, the writers had a writing tab, a keyword research tab, SEO tab. So each team will have access to different ones. I think that's completely obsolete right now. You don't need to do keyword research. You have different tools that you can use for that.
Yeah.
You have Ahrefs can do a lot more now than they did back then. What was the Surfer SEO? Was it Matt's one? Yeah, and you have just many tools you can use right now.
Yeah.
So you don't need as many people as we did. We had a pretty big, like 15 to 20 people content team.
Wow.
So you don't need it right now. You can just run everything with 4 or 5 people. Lots of automation, lots of AI tools, some outsourcing, and that's it.
And post-acquisition, you're doing a lot of investing yourself. What is one scaling red flag that you see in startups that pitch to you?
Oh, that's a tough question. Red flags. So I would say they don't spend a lot of time picking their co-founders, and
Interesting.
they go in without knowing the person they're starting the business with. the business with, and like, do they have, do they share the same values? Are they on the same, in the same phase of life? Maybe you are a young parent. Maybe somebody is just out and partying all night, and like you wake up and your partner is sleeping until 2 p.m. I would say partnerships are the most powerful things, and all of my businesses were partnerships. Even the agencies before, and SleepAdvisor and PressWiz is a partnership as well. So, yeah, it's probably the best way and most fun way to build something, but people don't take it seriously. When you build something, it can easily go wrong when you have something, when you have meat on the bone, as they say.
Yes.
If things start going a little south, at some point, you then find issues. And I would say, if you're starting with somebody, make sure that you're on the same page about key things. Values, obviously, you just need to meet the person and see where they are. Do you trust them? With all of my founders, co-founders, I could give them my kids to watch them. I trust them completely. So I think that's an important factor. I'm not sure if that was the scope of the question, but
yes.
You got what you got.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you see the landscape for acquisitions looking out into the nearest future?
So for me, there were these companies who use the roll-up model to buy. Actually, one of the companies that bought our brand were doing basically that. They rolled up around six different sleep sites, and now they commanded, suddenly all this traffic. They could they could switch from CPA model to CPC model. So they're basically, charging like Facebook would charge for clicks, and that's much more lucrative for the publisher. Worse for the advertiser, let's face it, but you can structure it differently. I would say there was quite a good model. I think recently I wouldn't be so confident about the model right now, and it's something I moved away from. I try to make it as diversified as possible. I've invested in e-commerce, in SaaS, in marketplaces, and whatever. So I try to kind of stay away from only content.
I see.
We use content on most businesses, but it's not the core thing that the business does. Like you can do, e-commerce has products that they can promote on social media, they can promote it on paid ads, and the content is a supplemental thing. SEO is a supplemental thing. Would I start another content brand, purely affiliate content brand? Probably not. But would I still use content and content marketing and SEO as part of e-commerce or SaaS or agencies? Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us.
Thank you so much for hosting.
Yes, and if you're interested to learn more, follow Nemanja on LinkedIn and subscribe to our channel, Odys Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.